Hi, this is Dr. Anita with another diamond moment. The diamonds of our lives are produced through time, heat, and pressure. It's what we do with the raw occurrences, the raw experiences of our lives that determine how valuable these experiences are. I'm of the belief that if it came through my life, then I have the ability to do something positive with that experience. We've been talking for a while about listening to your gut, listening to that still quiet voice, which people call intuition, within yourself. Not being so caught up in the outer situations, but listening deep within. It's from deep within that we find that value, that we're able to mine the raw diamonds of our lives and utilize them. There's a scripture, and as I've said before, I believe in the truth of scripture. We talked about very briefly, which again, I will go into in more detail in future episodes, the fact and the way that scripture was manipulated, the way that scripture was brought to us in order to establish a consistent method for explaining the situations of life. And I just put it that way. It's very difficult for me to go into it in too much detail because that is not the topic of today's episode. But in believing the truth in scripture, I believe that there are some things that have been laid out for us, that it takes a little bit of additional study, meditation, and being able to accept and receive those things within us. Scripture tells us the things that we both heard, seen, and received. Those are the things we're supposed to do. If you haven't received it, you can't do it. You may have heard it, but you rejected it, so you can't do it. And one of the scriptures also that I wanted to bring up is a scripture in 1 John. It says, "Beloved, I wish above all things that you would prosper and be in health as your soul prospers." Prosperity from this perspective relates to everything about you. To be in health, spirit, soul, and body is the way that I am interpreting and looking at this scripture. So when I'm looking at being in health and prospering, I'm looking at everything about me. In the mindfulness community, or those who believe in being mindful, being in the present, looking at and focusing on where we are as opposed to stressing about where we are not. And in my latest book, A Diamond Journey Journal, I have some definitions. I believe that we cannot communicate with one another until we're speaking the same language, at least where you understand what I'm saying, in order to either to formulate your opinion, disagree, agree not to agree. Okay. And so in here, I gave a definition of wellness and wholeness. I believe that this scripture is relating to wholeness. Beloved, I wish above all things that you would prosper and be in health as your soul prospers. And again, I always define soul as your mind, your will, and your emotions. But that be in health portion, I believe, is everything: physical, emotional, spiritual, financial, and social. It's everything about you. When I'm looking at the definition that I have in A Diamond Journey Journal, I'm comparing wellness and wholeness. Wellness brings you balance in the present, in where you are right now. Wholeness pulls you towards the future. Wellness is a necessary but insufficient idea to promote a person's growth, resiliency, and totality. Wholeness is more than just the physical realm that we live in. It takes in everything that we are. We've been talking about, how do I become whole? How do I become well? How am I working towards that health, spirit, soul, and body? And the things that we've been doing relates to what's called shadow work, going back and investigating, challenging, and not necessarily accepting on its face value the things that we've experienced, but delving deeper in order to understand why I was in this particular situation, why I experienced the challenge, why I experienced what I did, and what can I gain and take out of that. So we're looking at prospering in every area of our lives, being in health in every area of our lives. And that does take being able to break it down, to take it apart, to be able to look at how a particular situation that I found myself in either strengthened me or how I perceived it at that time. Whether I need to look further and challenge the way I perceived it, because if I got to it and went through it, I can turn it into a lesson that will benefit me for the rest of my life. Or I can hide it, I can not look at it, I can push it back into the shadows, and it will inadvertently continue to guide my decision making for the rest of my life. We really must look at why we feel the way that we feel. That's the area in which getting still, when we encounter something that causes our inner man to change. There are apps on our phones that are able to bring us to a point of measuring right now. How do I feel? Do I feel pleasant? Do I feel fearful? Am I confident? Am I proud? Am I stressed? There's apps that you can find that would be able to give you some terminology to be able to distinguish or determine how you actually feel. In a Diamond Journey journal, I did include an emotion wheel, and you can look online and find others that may be more, that may speak to you more, to be able to get in contact with how you actually feel. Because there's levels of emotion. And when we encounter maybe a situation that is familiar to us, and we have what's termed as a gut reaction to that situation, we need to look at that gut reaction and find out, why am I feeling like this? Why am I feeling threatened? Why am I feeling unhappy? Why is my stomach in a knot? What is it that I'm reacting to that I may not be aware of? Those are areas in which we need to check it within and challenge. We need to look at why. In our last episode, I told you that sometimes you can think that you've healed an area, you think that you're doing good, and then something comes up, and where you may have dealt with a level of memory that you thought it was stemming from. It could actually be something else that happened much earlier. And it may not be that you need to delve really deeply into why, but simply connecting the dots between that very early experience and the one that you attributed this pain or discomfort to. Sometimes just connecting the dot is all you needed to do. And then you're able to move forward in your journey of becoming. So we want to, again, really be mindful of, pay attention to in this moment, what you're feeling inside. And instead of running from it, medicating it, but to take a moment and sit in it and determine what's really going on with me. Why am I feeling this way? What's up? I was fine a moment ago, and now I feel some kind of way, and I don't know why. Those are the challenges. Those are the things that we need to challenge in order to be in health and prosper as our souls prosper. So once again, we're not just looking at the superficial. We're looking more deeply, and we're looking at it in categories. Is it emotional? Am I having some emotional issues that I need to look at more closely? Is it social? Is it relational? Am I dealing with some people or feeling some kind of way about a relationship or somebody I've encountered? It could just be that you went to the store and then you had some type of a feeling. It's like, what is this? And why do I feel this way? To take the time to sit and be still and to examine that is part of processing the diamonds in your life. Okay? Is it financial? Am I experiencing the same financial challenge over and over and over again? And if I am, what do I need to do in looking at this financial challenge and see it maybe from a different perspective? Am I utilizing the finances that I have appropriately? Or could I maybe think of a different way to work out my budget? Is it physical? Am I continuing to complain about the same physical challenge and never take the time to do anything about it? You know, we go through the beginning of the year, New Year's, and you're going to do all of these big changes. Have you done any of those things? Have you done any of the things that you determined that you wanted to do at the beginning of the year? And if you haven't, why? That's something you need to challenge. Is it just because, as in double dutch, you're getting ready to jump in, and you're getting ready and you never do jump? Or is it because maybe you're uncertain about the outcome? If you were not continuing to stress or to complain about a situation that you're in, where would you be? If you actually handled the thing that you've been complaining about, where would you be? How far along the road would you be if you had done something when you first started out, but instead procrastination took over and something else seemed to be more important, and you just kind of pushed it back, way back, as we used to say, until it's now something that causes you stress because you've never done what you intended to do. Maybe we're dealing with that spiritual side of things. Maybe you have wanted to study more and you just haven't. Maybe you've wanted to read more and you just haven't. Maybe you don't even know why you haven't. Maybe you have set yourself up for failure because you made the task so difficult until you already need to have the degree in order to do what you were planning to do, instead of making it very easy and very simple. So when we're looking at that scripture, 1 John, we're looking at, beloved, I wish above all things that you prosper and be in health as your soul prospers. We need to really understand what soul prosperity is, what health is, what wellness is, what wholeness is. And we need to be able to develop a plan or a way to go about walking into some of these things that are actually causing us stress because we've never moved forward on it. That is the purpose for a Diamond Journey Journal. I've been discussing this. You can pick it up on Amazon. A Diamond Journey Journal. Subtitle is Becoming is a Process. A process has stages, and it is by myself, Dr. Anita McLaughlin. I'm inviting you to take that journey. What we're doing here is to be able to reinforce ourselves, to give us something to think on. To think on these things, to be able to look at where we want to go in whatever area that might be, and to begin today. So many times, as I said before, we set up a a series of activities that we intend to do at the beginning of the year. And if we don't do that, it falls away. And now we're February, and so I can't get started. I need to wait until later. Those are just excuses for procrastination. So what I would say to you is this: a Diamond Journey Journal is a fiscal year from February to February or March to March way to walk through your goals, what you want to do. It can be utilized in terms of physical, spiritual, emotional, social, financial, whatever that main category is that you're concerned about right now. And then next month, should you decide I really would need to add in another aspect of who I am into this wholeness journey that I'm on, you can do that. So next month you can determine what are your new goals, what's your new focus. And then hopefully during the course of the fiscal year, from the third week in February to the second week in February of next year, you will have come to a place where you can see a definite change in whatever it is that you're seeking to do, to grow and mature in your own life. I also want to encourage you by saying that sometimes you're moving forward and you don't even realize that you're moving forward. That again is part of what I go through in the Diamond Journey Journal, is being able to look at these small steps, these little small things that you're doing that you think amount to nothing, but in all actuality are moving you forward in tiny little increments towards your goal. I do, again, believe in the truth of Scripture. I believe that the universe, our creator, the source of all things, does want us to be in health and prosper, to move forward in where we feel that we have been called to live and move and have our being, to be able to fulfill all of the hopes and dreams of our lives, to be able on a daily basis to feel really good inside, really good and positive inside, to have that overall feeling of wellness, of wholeness, of peace, prosperity, to be able to be excited about what's coming up, not because we're anticipating a crash, but because we are experiencing the journey that we intended to go on. I want you to really focus within, because that inner man is attempting to guide your steps. I don't know how long we're going to be talking about that inner man, but it'll probably be for a while. Because until that inner man prospers, nothing else can prosper. Until we prosper from within, nothing else externally will look the way we want it to look. Until we challenge those limitations that have been built in either through the experiences or the incorrect examination that we've made. Sometimes we've attributed a negative reaction to a situation that actually was not negative, but we haven't taken the opportunity to process it. Becoming really is a process, and that process does have stages. And no matter where you are, no matter what you're going through, no matter what you're experiencing, you have the opportunity to grow from wherever you are if you make up your mind that you want to do so. We're at an age and a stage in which I do not believe that we are supposed to accept the status quo. I believe that when we came through the pandemic, we were not supposed to go back to things as they were. I think that much of the friction in our daily lives is coming to a balance point where we're looking at where we were, determining where we want to be, and then taking the steps to get there. We're not supposed to go backwards. There's nothing in life that takes you backwards. Just because I decide I don't want to be a day older tomorrow doesn't mean I'm going to be a day younger. That's not how it works. We don't go backwards. We go forwards. And if you're afraid to go forward, those are the areas they're showing you, the areas that you need to pay attention to. And it's going to hit you from a deep inner place. As I said, there are apps on our, if you have an iPhone, there's an app there within the health app on your iPhone that shows you how you feel. How are you feeling right now? And then at the end of the day, how have you felt today? And what it does is allows you to focus yourself into how I feel and why I felt that way. Do I feel sad? Do I feel pleasant? Do I feel very pleasant? How do I feel? And then what's making me feel that way? And once you recognize that, you have the ability by the end of the day to be able to change the way you were feeling. Were you able to make any inroads into, I felt this particular way, but by the time I got to take the next assessment, I felt different. I felt better. Or is it that I felt worse? And if I felt worse, why? What is it that I needed to look at? What is it that I needed to challenge? What am I actually feeling inside myself to bring me to a place of being able to understand, beloved, I wish above all things that you would prosper and that you would be in health as your soul, your mind, your will, and emotions prosper. When we check out our emotions, when we look at our mind, the way we're thinking about things, and our will, the procrastination for not doing what we want to do, we'll find out where we are lacking in prosperity and in health. And once we have that, we have the ability to change everything in our lives. This is Dr. Anita. I hope that you'll continue being with me. I hope that you will definitely pick up a Diamond Journey Journal. Becoming is a process. A process has stages by myself, Dr. Anita McLaughlin, on Amazon. And I hope that you will work along with me as we continue examining these phrases, wellness or wholeness, looking at different aspects or things that you can think on, meditate on these things. Whatsoever things are good or lovely, of a good report, if there be any virtue, if there be any praise, think on these things. And being able to focus our mind as we meditate, as we silence the outer noise and focus within, focusing in on breathing, on breath, utilizing things that may not have been always included in the quote unquote Christian experience. But again, I believe that God, creator, source, the universe wants to take us farther than where we've been. If you are a student of scripture and you believe in Jesus, Jesus told us, he said, I'm going away. I'm no longer going to be here, but what I'm going to do is leave that which will teach you, guide you, instruct you. It will be the spirit of truth. You can feel the truth when you hear it. You can feel it deep within. The truth carries a peacefulness to it. And when you realize the truth, you have the ability to change. Jesus said, don't stop with me. Keep going. I'm going away, but I'm leaving this for you. So it will teach you and lead you into all truth. I believe that we're at a place now where what we've been taught in many churches has been limiting. It has held us back from that peace that passes all understanding that we were supposed to enter into. I believe that we have been led in a direction that's not necessarily effective in terms of bringing that peace, but is very effective in terms of ushering in control. And I believe that we went through the pandemic in order to realize that what had society had done to control us, we can do it a different way. I know that in many work environments, you may have had to work in the on-site location at work, and now post-pandemic, you don't. There are many companies that shut down their physical locations and got rid of that expense because they found out that their workers would work whether somebody was standing over them with a whip or not, whether you're having to sit there and make busy and play like you're busy instead of doing your work and going on about the rest of your day. People have found out you don't have to live that way anymore. And trust me, it's not going to go back. No matter how much people think I'm going to control you, they only have the control of which you give them. When we see that attendance in many congregations is lessening, that young people are no longer going along with the status quo because it never made sense. And they're refusing to accept that somebody whose life is running the way that it is going to control the way that I live. And that's why it's so important, as Jesus said, to enter into that spirit of truth, which will guide you and lead you and direct you and bring you into relationship and a different understanding with the Creator, the source, the universe, that which is so much larger than we are, that we try to put in a box. And so the recognition of these things will increase your peace. It will increase your prosperity. It will move you in the direction that you feel that you need to go. It will show you exactly how to get from point A to point B to point Z, one step at a time. And so I want to encourage you, please check out A Diamond Journey Journal, Becoming is a Process Has Stages, on Amazon by myself, Dr. Anita McLaughlin. Join me on Wisdom. Listen to some of the teaching and some of the questions that I've answered there. It may answer some of your questions. It may give you something to think about. It may be able to help you to focus in on some of those areas within that maybe you're not feeling the level of peace that you'd like to. And then join me on FanBase. I'm going to be doing some new things there, still in the process of setting up everything. But join me there, and please continue to come back. Tell people about this podcast, A Diamond Moment with Dr. Anita, if it's helping you. And please, if you get the Diamond Journey Journal, please recommend it. Please give me a rating. Hopefully it's a good one, but give me a rating on it. And hopefully there's some information in here that will allow you to be able to maybe understand things better. In particular, if the terminology that's being spoken today was not in your tradition before, then you need to know what others are talking about. Maybe you've been taught to be fearful of something that you don't have to be afraid of. Maybe they're saying the same things that you're saying, but just in a different way. And so we need to, again, realize that we live on a ball in outer space and nobody can get off. So let's learn how to get along. Beloved, I wish above all things that you would prosper and be in health as your soul prospers. Visit my website at DrAnitaMc.com. That's DrAnitaMc.com for everything relating to what we're doing here and now in this place.